Okay, I'm looking forward to my next special guest now. I've arranged to get on a lady from the Northwest Ambulance Service. We have Sara Harris joining me on today's show. Thanks for joining me on today's show, taking time out of your busy schedule to discuss the topic about this time of year. A lot of people may be tripping over and falling over and stumbling, and we're going to cover that topic. But first, I just wanted to introduce you on and just see how you are today.
Thanks for that introduction. Yes, I'm a paramedic with Northwest Ambulance Service. I've worked for the ambulance service for 20 years.
Oh, brilliant. And is it something you've always wanted to do and do you still enjoy it to this very day?
It's the best job ever. I still genuinely love the job and seeing patients.
Yeah, I bet you get to meet people from all walks of life, different ages as well.
Yes, you definitely do. You get to meet people of all ages, but I have a particular fondness to the sort of older adults and the complexities that comes with dealing with patients like that.
And so senior care as well, that is more for your department specialising in.
Yeah, a large proportion of the calls to the ambulance service are for patients over the age of 65.
Mm. And as a nation, we are getting older and older, aren't we?
Yes, we are. We're living longer. We're not necessarily living longer well. So we're living with more long-term conditions for longer, which means that increases our risk of falls as we grow older.
Sure. And this time of year as well, falls are quite notorious, aren't they? You always hear like family members or friends tripping over, especially when the weather isn't so good. So luckily, we haven't had snow just yet, but we do. It's inevitable that when people have snow and ice, you just have to be a bit careful out there.
Yeah, the weather is one factor for people falling, and obviously winter makes that a little bit more worse. But there's lots of reasons why a person can fall, whether that's their environment or factors relating to them as a person. And the reason we've done some work recently around falls prevention in the ambulance service in the Northwest is to try and get family and friends and patients to think about what they can do before they have that fall and prevent it.
Mm. And when patients fall over, it can have an adverse effect on their health, can't it? They go into hospital, and sometimes they might be worse off. So it's good to put in measurements, like in the home, in place. Make sure everything is there, so the patient has everything accessible. Like going to the toilet and everything.
Yeah, so not everybody that falls will end up going to hospital. It depends on their injury or the cause of the fall. But yeah, the factors after a fall can lead to somebody having more falls. So, for example, there's something called fear of falling. So somebody has a fall or a trip, and they don't necessarily injure themselves, but then they worry about having another fall, and so they stop doing the things they do, their activities of daily living. So it's about trying to prevent people having those falls that cause them injury that ends up in hospital. And what we don't want is older people in hospital unnecessarily.
I wanted to ask, in your experience as well, if a loved one you come across, if you're just visiting,
Yeah.
has fallen on the floor, what is the best way to address that scenario situation?
Well, you would be looking for if there was any reasons to call for an ambulance. Was there any breathing problems? Were they injured? If you know they're uninjured and you can assist them up, then get them up. Anybody that's fallen really needs to be seen by some sort of healthcare professional, and that doesn't have to be that day. Um, Particularly if they're uninjured, but it just should make family members think, what's changed with my mum, my dad, my grandparents, that they've suddenly gone from being really independent to having a fall today. Is it just their environment? Or are they on lots of medications that can cause them to fall? Because medications can cause someone to fall. Abnormal heart rate can cause somebody to fall. So it's about getting help that's appropriate to the person on that day.
Some great advice there. And I know in this interview I mentioned the weather may have a contributory factor to falls. But
Yeah.
why is this season you see more falls in this season rather than say the summer, especially in the households?
Well, you've got the ice and the snow, as we've discussed, and it's dark as well. So you've got a change in the weather. People might be inside more often. A lot of falls occur in at the home as well, so it's not just outdoors. I go to a lot of patients who've fallen in their home, and clutter can be an example. So we're at home, it's dark, maybe the lights are not on, the house is cold. All these things affect somebody's chances of falling. Clutter's a big one, for example. Rugs or inappropriate footwear or staircases, putting things on the stairs. I have a cat who has a nasty habit because pets are a reason for falls, and I have got a cat whose nasty habit is to sit on the stairs, which could cause me to fall. So it's about looking at the person and the person's environment and see what you can do to reduce that risk of someone having a fall that causes them an injury.
So it's just making sure, just double checking everything's in place. Just use a bit of common sense as well. If you're a carer as well, just to make sure everything in the home is as it should be.
Yeah. So, for example, if you're a carer or you're looking after your mum and dad, and your mum or dad or the person you're caring for has got problems with their vision, walk around the house looking at the floor, the stairs, the environment, the doors, and imagine what it would be like to be walking around if you couldn't see as well as you as the carer, and see where there are hazards that could potentially cause someone to fall.
And I notice as well, where on your website, the Northwest Ambulance Service, you have done like a little short video, which might be useful to
Yes.
listeners. Where can people find that?
So it's on the Northwest Ambulance Service website and the YouTube channel as well.
Oh, brilliant! That'd be very useful for my listeners as well. Anything else you may like to just add to this interview, which I might have missed out, which you may like to add?
No, it's just about falls prevention, because a lot of people that fall, particularly older people with lots of different conditions, will end up with an injury that puts them into hospital. So if we can try and prevent those falls and get the appropriate falls advice from whichever healthcare provider, it could be a physiotherapist, an occupational therapist, your GP. It's getting that right advice local to where you are.
Also, I can just add for you as well on the social media as well. If you use a hashtag prevent falls this winter, it will come up with all the information our listeners will need to know.
Yeah, and there's some great information on the NHS Choices website as well around falls.
Brilliant. Well, Sara, thanks very much for joining me on my show. Since this is a radio show, we do play a lot of music as well on the show. Do you have any type of music you may like to hear? Favourite artist?
Well, I do like a wide range of music. I do like classical music, but I do have my guilty pleasure is Harry Styles, I
Oh,
have to say.
oh, brilliant. Well, I'm sure we can dig out Harry Styles next for you. It's been a pleasure having you on, and thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to join me on this community radio show with me, Danny J. Sun.
Thank you.